Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we'll be taking a look at the top 8 deck lists for a 128-person tournament that took place in Belgium at the store LudoTrotter. This took place on the 1st of June, so it was actually the day before the pack online event that I covered just yesterday. Not purposely, I missed it, but yeah, big old field. This was a paper tournament as well, and again, a pretty healthy looking meta from the top cut list. But one thing that it did have one particular thing in common with the pack tournament the other day. So yeah, great to have some more data to look at for set 4 format. A quick shout out to the channel sponsors, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive prices, you should check out Cardmarket. But other than that, let's take a look at the lists. So I mentioned the other day that I was very much fearing a very Bucky dominated meta, and thankfully the pack tournament, the top 16 lists, 4 different ink combinations. Bucky did make it and Bucky did win, but there were other things that did well, which was good to see. And in this top 8, there is Bucky, but there are plenty of other ink combinations as well. But in common with the pack tournament, first place was taken by the squirrel himself, piloted by Alexandra. So yeah, Bucky, obviously we looked at this the other day, makes our opponent discard a card every time we play a Floodborn. Also, of course, the fact that he's got Ward is what makes Bucky so difficult to deal with. So once again, we're seeing the 4 copies of the new Diablo. The shift is relevant because we're playing the baby Diablo, so we could go turn 1 Diablo, look at their hand, get some information, turn 2 Bucky, and then also turn 2 we can discard an action and immediately shift this Diablo, or we could just play it on turn 3 or after just as a nice cheap Floodborn. And of course, if the Diablo sticks, then he's going to generate a lot of lore. We've got 3 copies of the Aladdin here to be another Floodborn that we can play on turn 3, and the ability is relevant by banishing items whenever he quests, so Fishbone Quills, Lucky Dimes, things like that. We have, of course, also got kind of the OG Floodborn line. From since Into the Inklands, we've been able to go turn 1 Robin Hood, turn 2 Bucky, and turn 3 Floodborn Robin Hood, who is still here, so it's great to have access to that line, and then Robin Hood just being a really strong mid-game presence. We've got 3 copies of the Jafar Dreadnought, great stats and drawing cards. We're also running the 4 Floodborn Pegasus, along with the baby, which again, if they don't have an evasive answer early on, then this can really generate, cheat out some early lore, and again, just having access to a nice early shift line is going to help us trigger Bucky. We've got Beast as another Floodborn who can also draw us a lot of cards if he's not responded to. We've got the Ursa Deceiver of All making her way into this Bucky list, so she's going to sing these songs twice and generate a lot of value. We've got Let the Storm Rage On, doing 2 damage and drawing a card, so just double singing this with Ursula is 4 ping damage and then drawing 2, which is so strong. Strength of a Raging Fire, doing 1 damage for each character we have on the board. Hopefully we have a nice wide board, and of course we've got things like the 2-drop Ursa Deceiver who can snipe songs from the opponent's hand to get rid of those grab your swords, be prepared, a whole new world, just opposing strengths and storms for opposing decks that might be utilizing Ursula. So yeah, we're going to get a lot of value from these, especially if we sing them twice. 2 Along Came Zeus for some nice spot removal, and 4 copies of We Don't Talk About Bruno, no. Sorry, I watched Encanto the other day, so it's fresh in my head. But yeah, really powerful song. Of course, even if we have made them discard their entire hand, if we get them into a position where they're just going draw, play a character, then we're just sending it back to their hand, and it's just spot removal. So really strong looking deck. Again, the Diablo proving itself in another Emerald Steel deck, just having that early line to get a turn 2 Diablo play after your Bucky is so strong. And again, just the information you get from Diablo cannot be overlooked. So yeah, really strong deck, bringing home first place once again. I can't say I'm happy to see it, but nonetheless, congratulations to this person. And we have one more Bucky list in top 8, courtesy of Arnard. I'm definitely saying that wrong, but congratulations to you, my friend. And yeah, a more toolbox variant, lots of different toys. We do have the Diablo line, including the baby, 3 copies of the 1-drop, and of course the 4 Floodborn Diablo. We've got the 4 Bucky. We've got a 3-4 Robin Hood line. We've got a 3-4 Pegasus line. The Ursa Deceiver of All, only 3 copies to double sing songs, of which we've got 3 Storm, 3 Strength. So that's what she's going to be taking advantage of the most. We've got the 3 Aladdin for another Floodborn on turn 3. We're seeing 2 copies of the Flynn Rider, his own biggest fan, who isn't going to be able to shift. We don't have a 1-drop Flynn or a 2-drop Flynn or a Morph. But again, he's a Floodborn drop, fairly cheap at a 4-drop. And if we have emptied their hand, then he can just race away with so many lore just to close the gap or help us catch up. We're seeing 2 copies of Chief Bogo or Bogo. I'm not overly familiar with this film. But 4-cost uninkable, 2/4, quest for 2, and insubordination. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, deal 1 damage to each opposing character. So the name of the game is playing a lot of Floodborns anyway and making our opponent discard through Bucky. But this is another tool that we can put down from turn 4 so that we're also getting like mini grab your swords off, just doing 1 damage, 1 spread damage. Well, it's a tink ping really, which is a strong ability. I think this is fine. I don't know if this is necessarily the most consistent way to run this deck. A couple of other toys here. We've got the new Aerial Sonic Warrior, 6-cost inkable, 3/8, quest for 2. Shift 4 is irrelevant in this particular deck. I feel like you'd want Morph in here if you want to play this. But anyway, amplified voice. Whenever you play a song, you may pay 2 to deal 3 damage to a chosen character. You basically get to play Smash. You have to pay the 3 to do it, but yeah, not an insignificant ability. Only having 3 strength is really bad because again you fall to Medusa, but so does most of this deck. The Robin Hood, the Beast, the Pegasus, the Diablo, the Ursula, like they can't always have it, and if you're not playing against Ruby, then even better. The 8 willpower is really nice. She's going to be hard to outside of Medusa. She's going to be quite hard to remove, or obviously things like Tremaine and Big King Undisputed. But again, these are all Ruby cards. So if you're not playing Ruby, then more chance that this survives. Yeah, again, it's another Floodborn. We're playing the Tinkerbells as another 6-drop Floodborn, which I think makes a lot of sense. Again, it's a Floodborn, plus Tink's just such a strong mid to late game presence. But 3 Aerial as well, super interesting. If you're watching, I'd love to know how much work this put in, but yeah, always good to speak about something different. We've got 2 copies of Baboom here, offset there at the opponent's early shift lines. We looked at these songs, we've got 2 Long Came Zeus for the spot removal, and then another bit of spot, but there's a lot of spies in here. We've got a Find 'em, a Flatten 'em. 4-cost inkable song, banish all items. So against specifically the Ruby Sapphire decks, the ones that are being really cute. To be fair, like just popping a dime with this can feel good, but obviously not as good as just using a Benger. But if they've got a dime and a Porp, even that is value. And if they've got even more, like a dime, a Porp, maybe a couple of Porps, the Fortisphere, some people playing the Vitalosphere, the Ice Block, the Shield of Virtue. Like if your opponent does have a nice 3+ row of items, then this is going to feel pretty good. So yeah, you love to see it. 2, we don't talk about Bruno. 2 grab your swords. Important for the mirror, I definitely think. And then we are seeing 2 copies of Vision Slab, 3-cost inkable, inkable item. Danger revealed at the start of your turn. If an opposing character has damage, gain 1 lore. So yeah, this should be online an amount of the time. Like even if you forget our ways of pinging, just through them challenging us, they're putting damage counters on themselves. And then when you do add these cute things like Chief Bogo, Tinkerbell, Aerial, Baboom, and then of course we've got like Storm and Strength, it should be quite consistent to expect that they would have this. And then damage counters can't be removed. It's a secondary ability. So the first card that really comes to mind that this is really gonna offset is Rapunzel. Of course, we're not seeing a lot of Steel Amber, nor are we seeing a lot of Amber Ruby, although I do feel like that could change. I still feel like Ruby Amber is, with or without Mufasa, I feel could have a better showing this season than so far has been represented through data. But like Rapunzel is one thing this hugely shuts down. There are other things like the new Amethyst Bell. I'm trying to think of what's actually relevant to the meta that this is hugely affecting. There's the in Amber, there's one of the Madrigals who's got like a mini Rapunzel effect where she removes a damage counter to draw 1 or something, or removes 2 to draw 1. Similar to Rapunzel. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that's really meta dependent. If I did think of anything, I'll add it in edit later. But yeah, super interesting card. Again, we're gaining Law of Return if they've got damage counters. We don't have to pay anything for it, and this is an inkable item. And yeah, the second ability, you never know when that's going to come in handy. So yeah, certainly interesting to talk about, and led them to top 8. And again, 128 person field, so gotta respect it. So congratulations to them. And going into second place, I said there was something hugely in common that this tournament had with the pack tournament, which is once again it was a Emerald Steel Bucky versus Ruby Amethyst. Control mid-range, I don't know what we're calling it now. It's Ruby Amethyst. But yeah, that was the final, which is really good to see. And this particular Ruby Amethyst list is running the Isabella Madrigal, 5-cost inkable, 3/4, quest for 1, evasive, love to see it, and then 2 abilities. Ladies first, during your turn, if no other characters have quested this turn, this character gets +3 lore, so she quests for 4, and leave it to me whenever this character quests, your other characters can't quest for the rest of the turn, which is quite reasonable if you've got, like, sometimes she could be the only thing on the board, and if you do have other things, then fine, maybe we're singing with them, maybe we're challenging, maybe we're just happy to keep them ready and keep them safe. And yeah, this can make some really nice mid to late game lore jumps. Like, yeah, she falls to Medusa, but again, like, you just need them to not have it once, maybe even twice. I could see this putting in some work. I'm not hugely surprised. I'm a little surprised because I like, for me, Isabella, I was like, she's good. I don't know if she's maybe a bit too expensive. My thought trail was like, it's not that I don't like her, it's just I feel like other things would take priority in the deck list, in the space. But hey, it's great to see her take a second place victory courtesy of Alexis, so love to see it. We're also seeing the 2 copies of Be King Undisputed, which was also the case in the second place Ruby Amethyst list the other day. 4-cost uninkable song. Each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. So the Tremaine effect. We are also seeing 1 copy of Lady Tremaine in here, which I like. Again, it's nice to have the body and like another aggressive quester, because like obviously we just talked about Isabella, she can quest for 4, but other than that, nothing in this deck is questing for more than 1. Of course, you utilize things like goats, but yeah, I just like having another aggressive quester. But yeah, 3 1-splitter ladies, the 4 brawl makes sense. For our 1 drop to run 4 minis, the 1/3 stat line, which I still think is a lot. I know a lot of people have moved away from this and moved towards Chernobog, and I do think there's something to be said for that, just to give you some more draw power. But I still really like the 1/3, especially in conjunction with Crabs. I think it's just a nice stat line to have. Rafiki's still putting in some work. We're seeing the 2 copies of Pinocchio here, which I imagine did a lot to offset opposing game plans, like Ursa Deceiver of All, Aerials, things like that. We've got our standard Merlin and Min package, 4 Snake, 4 Fox, just 2 Crab, which I still think is low, but fair enough. 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit. We are also seeing just 1 copy of the 3-cost uninkable Sisu. Sisu, yeah, it's Sisu. Someone corrected me lately. I also referred to Sisu as male in my video the other day, which is definitely wrong. But yeah, 3-cost uninkable Sisu, Daring Visitor, 1/1, evasive, quest for 1, and bring on the heat when you play this character. Banish a chosen opposing character of 1 strength or less. So we don't have any of that cute stuff like Ice Block to manipulate this, but again, there are plenty of characters that have just like the 1 strength. So I imagine this put in a bit of work. I'm not sure how worth it was. Alexis, if you, I never assume that people watch my content, because I know of course a lot of people don't, but I'm always interested to know, like, hey, if you are watching, I'd love some insight as to how much work this put in. But yeah, other than that, looks pretty standard. 3 B prep, the 3 Queen's Castle. I like 4, but hey, better than 2, better than 1, better than none. The 4 Kuzco, which I like. So yeah, looks really good. Glad to see Ruby Amethyst once again doing well. Moving into top 4, the first of our Ruby Sapphire decks, not the last that we will look at. So yeah, we've got Ramp in the form of obviously our Fishbone Quill. We've also got the 4 Porpsicle, 2 Lucky Dime. We are running those 3 Ice Blocks to lower opposing character strength, which can just be good just for challenging in, and then you are perhaps not being taken out in return. But we're running 2 copies of the Daring Visitor Sisu, which means we can get more characters into that range. We've got the 4 Brawl. We're going to get more characters into the range for that as well. And we are running 3 copies of the Floodborn Sisu, Empowered Sibling, 5/4, quest for 3. She a big girl, and I got this. When you play this character, banish all opposing characters with 2 strength or less, which is already, a lot of decks have a lot of characters that already fit that description, and with Ice Blocks we can make it even more so. And yeah, she a big girl. We love to see it. We got 4 copies of Grandma Martala for some additional draw. 2 copies of Scuttle to help us find these items, and like you really want to find this Fishbone Quill for turn 3 more often than not. We're also seeing 1 copy of Shield of Virtue in here just to be another 1-drop item. Helps to fuel Flavisham, helps to power up Tamatoa, and the re-reading ability can come in useful. We're seeing the 4 Develop Your Brain, which I like to see. We are a combo deck. I think sometimes you just need to dig for those correct pieces. 4 One Jump Ahead, 3 How Far I'll Go, just 3 Medusa, no Tremaine in here, the 4 Maui, the 4 Maleficent Dragon. Yep, pretty standard Ruby Sapphire. Again, I said it the other day a couple of times. I think it's just going to be a very strong season for the ink combination. So congratulations to Daniel. Next, we've got Emmerich in top 8, who's also rocking those 3 ice blocks. Similar item count, no Shield of Virtue in here. Same count of ramp for 1 jumps and How Far goes. All the big bodies at the same. 1 more Medusa in here and an extra Floodborn Sisu. 3 copies of the Daring Visitor. Once again, no copies of the, I can't remember the sub name, but the Inkable 3-drop Sisu. The one I keep trying to brawl. But we're again seeing the Grand Martala for some card draw. Develop Your Brain, Divine Key pieces. Yeah, looks really, really good. Congratulations to Emmerich. And then Sebastian's list here is almost identical. Also on 2B prep, they're on 1 more How Far I'll Go and 1 more Ice Block. They're on 1 more Maui. Emmerich only choosing to play 3 Maui. So yeah, Sebastian's got 4. Sebastian's got 3 Sisu to Emmerich's 4. And Sebastian's got only 1 Daring Visitor Sisu to Emmerich's 1. So yeah, less all in on the Sisu, but still 3 copies of the Floodborn and maxing out on these ice blocks and these How Far Goes. And yeah, definitely the Maui. I missed that a moment ago looking for Emmerich's. I still think Maui's really important. But yeah, doesn't surprise me to see it do well. Pretty much the same list, just a few count differences. So congratulations to them. Going back to top 4, we have Joan with some Steel Amber Flutesong. I said the other day when I was looking at the pack tournaments, it surprised me to not see any Steel Flutesong. Which again, like, I know I've been saying most of Season 3 and going into Season 4 that I don't think it's well positioned with how good Ruby Sapphire is. But there's still so much Emerald Steel out there. There's still a good amount of Ruby Amethyst, and Steel Song Ruby Amethyst I feel can be pretty 50-50. I think it's kind of play draw dependent, but a good matchup. And yeah, I was still surprised to not see any, but definitely taking top 4. Sorry, definitely doing well here by taking top 4. We are seeing 2 copies of the Sleepy's Flutes that are going to allow us to exert and gain a lore every time we have sung a song. In the vein, we've got 1 copy of the Bare Necessities to help snipe those opposing non-character cards, Fishbone Quills, songs of interest like Be Prepared and Whole New World and Grab Your Swords. Anything that Queen's Castles that we don't really like to see, just be gone. We've got 1 copy of the World's Greatest Criminal Mind to remove quite a lot of targets. Maui, Maleficent, Tamatoa, Cinderella Stout-Hearted, and of course we are running a 4/4 Queen line with the Floodborn having the ability to give 1 character +4 strength and 1 character -4. So we can manipulate opposing characters to bring more things into range. If anything, I'd like to see more copies of World's Greatest Criminal Mind, to be honest. 4 Storm, 4 Strength of Raging Fire, 3 Along Came Zeus, which I think is a nice count. 4 Whole New World, the 2 Grab Swords. So lots of songs here that we can use to toot the Sleepy's Flute. We've got, going back to characters, the 4 Ballroom Sensation Cinderella, who not only can sing these cheaper songs nice and early, Bare Necessities, Greatest Criminal Mind, Storm Rage On, and Strength of a Raging Fire, but she is a shift target for our 1 copy of the Stout-Hearted Cinderella. 7 cost Inkable, you can shift for 5. 5/5 stat line, quest for 3, resist 2, and the Singing Sword. If we play a song, we can challenge a ready character. So again, lots of synergy with our songs here. We've got the 4/4 Robin Hood line, again, really strong character, just an early shift line to help us sing our 5-cost songs. We are seeing the 3 Piglet, who put in a lot of work in Lil, courtesy of Frank's deck. 2-cost Inkable, 2/2, quest for 1, but if you have 2 or more other characters in play, this character gets +2 lore, so you can get a really nice early curve of like Cinderella, Queen, or Robin Hood into Piglet, and then turn 3, you play your 3-drop, and then Piglet's immediately questing a 4/3, and you can play that throughout the game as well, and it's just something that is going to demand attention from your opponent. So great addition. We've got 3 Smee for some great stats. We've got 4 copies of Ariel, who's going to hopefully help us find songs and sing them cheap with that Sing a 5 ability. And we're also seeing 2 copies of the Floodborn Sonic Warrior, who we looked at a moment ago in a different deck. Definitely like a lot more synergy here because we've got a nice Floodborn target. It's another way it's another early shift line to get off Whole New World or Along Came Zeus, things like that. So yeah, I like the inclusion. For item removal, we've got 1 copy of Benja, who removes removes an item when he enters the field, and questing for 2 is pretty good. We've also got 1 copy of the Aladdin Brave Rescuer, who again we've looked at a lot in Bucky decks, but yeah, just another way for us to remove items, and you do it while questing, and just the 3/3 stat line keeps you out, like just having 3 strength as opposed to Benja's 2 keeps you out of a couple of things like Sisu and Under the Sea. So yeah, cute addition. We've got 4 Rapunzel as an alternative way of drawing if we don't want to go the whole new world way. No Beast Tragic Heroes in here, which I think is fine. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. So yeah, this looks really good. The Aladdin's a bit of a surprise, but I don't hate it. I know not many Flutesong players are necessarily playing this aerial, but I think it's perfectly fine. Again, like if they don't have Medusa, then she's so tough to remove, and a great ability. So yeah, looks really good. Congratulations to them. And our final top 8 deck list, we have Basile, with a toolbox variant of Sapphire Steel. So this version is running the 4 Whole New Worlds. I was quite surprised the other day looking at some Sapphire Steel decks, that 2 of them that weren't running Whole New World. And yeah, the more you think about it, like it can make sense, like you don't want to be refreshing your opponent's hand, so you just kind of rely on your own card draw, like your beasts and your porpsicles and your Vortispheres. But it was there. It was just still a bit of a surprise, because I still think it can just help generate so much value. But yeah, this deck taking advantage of it. For items, we've got the 4 Porp, just 3 Fortisphere, the 4 Fishbone Quill, and the 2 Lucky Dime. For songs, we've got 1 copy of Grab Your Swords, the 4 Whole New World I just mentioned, 1 copy of Let It Go, which I do think is important in this deck, either that or Hades for things like Stout-Hearted Cinderella, or Tamatoas as well, is another big bulky thing that needs an answer. 1 copy of A Long Came Zeus. We've got the 2 One Jump Ahead for ramp, 3 How Far I'll Go for ramp and draw, 1 copy of Smash, 1 Baboon, 1 Fire the Cannons. I like 1 Fire the Cannons, 1 Baboon. But yeah, a lot of one-offs here. 2 Develop Your Brain, 2 Tamatoa. We got 4 Tink. We are seeing 3 copies of the Treasure Collector, I think. Ariel, yeah, Treasure Collector, who has Ward, which is great. So the 3/4 stat line isn't that bad, because she can't be targeted by Medusa. Quest for 3, but if you've got more items than your opponent, she quests for 5, and in particular works really well with Lucky Dimes. You can just really make some nice lore jumps. 2 copies of Tragic Hero Beast for the card draw, 3 copies of Cogsworth, can sing our 5-cost songs, Ward makes him hard to remove and resist 1 to all our characters, interferes with their the opponent's maths, Flaversham for some draw, 2 copies of Tala for draw, just 2 Bell as a nice late game quester, and again works well with Dime, 1 Benja for item removal, 4 Smee, and 3 Scuttle. So lots of very peculiar counts here. A toolbox of all sorts. I'm not sure how much I like it, to be honest. I think I definitely would just try and maximize. Like, I think 1 Further Cannons, 1 Baboom is perfectly fine. I think I'd want more Zeus. I think I want at least 2 Grab Your Swords. I also feel like I want 4 Fortisphere, because these are your 1-drops. Like, you're not playing any characters, which is fine. No problem with that. But I don't know. I think just the 1-cost items that let you draw a card are just too good to not run in 4s, personally. 1 Smash is a bit random. I like the inclusion of Smash. I don't know. I just feel like you're never going to get the one-off you want at the right time. I don't know, but led them to top 8 in a 128-person field, so completely respect it. So huge congratulations to them. And that is it for the top 8 deck lists from the LudoTrotter event. 128 players. So yeah, meta's looking fairly healthy so far. Let's hope that continues. Glad to see some Flutesong in that top cut. Still waiting for EA Tempo to sort of find its feet in this format. It may not. I do hope it does. But yeah, as always, great to look at data. Few bits of channel admin just to go over for the end of the video here. First of all, my apologies for the mistake in the pack deck list. I showed the wrong Moana. My apologies for that. If you're new to the channel, just fill you in. Like, that happened near the beginning of set 3. I made a mistake, and I made a post afterwards saying, what would you prefer I do in the future? Would you want me to continue to try and get deck lists out as soon as possible, and you guys can just accept that sometimes there might be a mistake? Or would you rather I took longer to cover them just to guarantee that the lists are perfectly right? And the vast majority of people were just like, no, just get it out as quick as you can. Mistakes are going to happen, whatever. Of course, if the feedback to that ever changes and enough people seem to start to feel differently, then I'll switch things up. But yeah, nonetheless, my apologies for making that mistake. Something to show off now, I mentioned on my community post a while back that I was getting some custom sleeves made by Dragon Shield, who I am an affiliate for. And if you like buying Dragon Shield merchandise, then please use my affiliate link down below and use Villain5 as your code for 5%. But yeah, it's not like they've made me some sleeves that they're selling to the public. They already do custom sleeves. You can print, send in your own design. But yeah, they were happy to do me a few for free just to sort of sample it and to like, I want to give some away. But yeah, I really, really like them. They arrived the other day. That's the box. We did end up going with the ones with colour. And I'm so happy with how these have come out. Like, tell me you don't want some Villain Club sleeves. 100%. I'm so in love with them. You need like perfect fit sleeves to go inside to actually use them. But yeah, I'm well happy with how they've come out. They've sent me 5 packs. I'm going to use one myself, obviously, for my deck. And my plan is I want to, if I end up going to future DLCs throughout the year, then I want to take a box that I will use. If anyone wants a card signed, then when I sign whatever card you want signed, I'll give you one of these sleeves to go with it. That's the plan for 1 or 2 of the boxes. I got sent 5. 1 or 2 of the boxes I'm just going to give away at in-person events, just like one by one. I'm going to keep one for myself. There's 100 sleeves in there, so like I'll only need 1 for the time being. And then I've got 2 others that are eventually going to be related to a giveaway. I've got a bunch of other Dragon Shield sleeves with like official Dragon Shield designs in a box behind me. I've got 2 playmats to give away. I want to get information about that soon, but I'm just trying to work out some details. But yeah, I will give a couple of these away. And what I might do as well, is because I can't use them as merch, like they're Dragon Shield products. Like they can't sell them to me and then me sell them on. So it'll be strictly for giveaways, but it might be that the giveaway in question would involve viewers doing something like, hey, if you go and spend £10 or more from Dragon Shield and use my code, then you'll be entered into a giveaway to win a bunch of goodies. So it'll probably be something along those lines. Also about merch in general, I'm really keen to start getting some out. I've been doing my own research for a while and there are some avenues I'm exploring. But if I do have viewers that are like fellow content creators or just know a lot about YouTube channels working with merch and like you can recommend any specific companies, and I don't just mean Google it and send me what you find on Google. I've done that myself. I just mean if anyone's got more experience with merch companies that you would recommend I look into, then please do so, because I'm definitely keen to get t-shirts out, playmats I would like to be able to do, and a host of things. Also, just a little note about the podcast. I put a community post up not long ago where I was asking for opinions on what we should call it. People had made suggestions, and I took like my 4 favourites and had you guys vote. And quite overwhelmingly, the most popular choice was House of Villains, which I was perfectly happy to accept, and was like, yep, that sounds good. I was all prepped with my idea. I was going to get the House of Fun theme tune and kind of edit it a bit so it came up with it would sort of sound, welcome to the House of and it would all go like warped and distorted, and I was already thinking about the marketing. But I've been advised by quite a few people that, one, there's already quite a lot of content called House of Villains, TV shows, podcasts, things like that, and I may get lost in traffic shuffle, and I may even end up having copyright issues down the line. So I always feel bad when I put out a vote and then people vote and then I go, okay, this one, but I'm not doing it. I'm not saying I'm not doing it, but I'm still umming and ahhing about whether or not I actually can. So yeah, that's still up in the air. But while the name is to be confirmed, I want to get at least 2 podcasts out over the course of this month. There'll be one coming up before the 10th. With just me and one guest, someone I've never spoken to on the channel, someone I met in Lille who did very well at the tournament, and I'll be speaking to them for the first time, so that should hopefully be very interesting. And then I'd want to get another multi-person podcast on the channel this month. I've already got guests that I'm talking to, so hopefully I'll be able to reveal a bit more information about that. Also, in the Lorcana Villain lore dump the other day, I did a lot of talking about memberships and Patreons and sponsorships, and there's been a lot of really supportive and great comments concerning that. So first of all, huge thank you. But after that video, I gained a few new members, so I want to do some special Lorcana Villain member shout-outs. First of all, in the henchman class, because every villain needs a good henchman, we have Plus HD and Stephen Gettle. Thank you for being henchman for Lorcana Villain. And in the villain tier, love a good villain me, we have MTG, Ronnie D, and we have Relaxing Sounds. Sorry, I suppose that should be Relaxing Sounds. I love it. A villain lulling our nemesis into a false sense of security with relaxing sounds. I'm a fan, but thank you so much to you guys for being members. But yeah, off the back of that whole Patreon and membership sort of conversation, I think I'm definitely going to go the way of membership / Patreon. If I do end up opening a Patreon, then I'll say to all my members, look, you don't have to do both. You can do one or the other and you'll get the same perks. I'm not going to lock any Lorcana specific content behind a Patreon or a membership. One reason above others is just I'm not allowed. But I wouldn't like start locking deck lists and stuff like that behind member only content, even if I was allowed, because that's kind of cringe. But I'm thinking about like exclusive content I could do for members and for potentially Patreon. I'm umming about the idea that may be how I do a Mama Villain reveal. And if I do a video with her on camera, maybe talking about, maybe I'll get her to react to some Lorcana cards, or she could talk about Zelda, which she's a big fan of, or even wrestling, which she's a huge fan of as well. I may incorporate Mama Villain on camera for like membership or Patreon only content. Also, just extra vlogs when I go to events. Like, I always do some vlogging that I'll always show on the public channel, but I could always do some like extra bits here and there that is exclusively for members and Patreons. And maybe even non-Lorcana content in some ways, like not necessarily playing games, maybe playing games. But I mean, like I could talk Yu-Gi-Oh, I could talk wrestling, and again, patrons and members would be free to like suggest things and sort of content that they would like me to do exclusively for them. So again, none of this is happening yet, but if that's something that you feel like you would like to support, please feel free to become a member for now. And if and when a Patreon happens, then I'll let people know, and like it would just be, you wouldn't have to do both. It could be one or the other. Right, something kind of different. A few days ago, I put out a tweet after getting so many lovely messages and comments about the casting weekend in Lille. So I put this comment, genuinely humbled by so many nice comments and messages. However, I feel my villainous persona is suffering for it. So I'd like to assure you that this is me every time the camera goes off. Probably. I can't show this or I'll get copyright struck, but this is the tribal villain, obviously just saying I am the best, which of course I am. And yeah, a lot of people saw the humour in it. And then Stephen Gettle, one of our newest members, thank you Stephen, posted this. Lorcana Villain broke into my house this afternoon and tied all the shoelaces on my shoes. He's pure evil. Receipts. And then it kind of started a trend of people saying in what ways I had been evil. Shout out to Rich. He opened up my tin of celebrations and left just the bounties. Diabolical. And this became a bit of a trend for the day. We had Citizens of Lorcana. Lorcana Villain broke into my house and replaced all my legendary cards with copies of Gantu. He's pure evil. Yo, just wait. Stocks, man. I'm doing you a favour. But I did thank him for the burbs because it is completely true. I did do that. Gantu is biding his time. Just wait until he's $40 when set 17 meta. He's going to be broken. I'm absolutely telling you. Bilbo Swaggins. Lorcana Villain sent me a nasty email saying that not everybody wanted to be a cat. My faith in the Aristocats is now shook. Well, I mean, don't tell my cat Hades, but that's absolutely true. Not everyone wants to. See, I posted. Here we go. Why should I worry? I love Oliver and Company. I can't wait to get that in Disney Lorcana. We got Chris here. Lorcana Villain broke into my house and restored resorted my cards in alphabetical order with all inks combined. Of course, I need to have order. Like, why are you separating your inks? Ain't no one got time for that. Lorcana Villain broke into my house and mixed up the cards I just sorted. He's pure evil. Yeah, you didn't do a good enough job. You need to do it again. I don't know what to tell you, man. Lorcana Villain broke into my house and already uninstalled Pixelborn. I mean, rule with the whip. That's all I'm saying. Lorcana Villain broke into my house and turned every other card in my collection upside down and every third card backwards. He's pure evil. Again, I took a look through your collection. I was unimpressed by the way you decided to sort it, so I gave you inspiration to do it again. You should be thanking me. Wait, why are all my inner sleeves upside down? Curse you, Lorcana Villain, because I wanted them upside down and you weren't looking. Again, I'm really being gaslit here. Lorcana Villain broke into broke into my house and put all cards into sleeves backwards. See, I do that a lot. I am aware that a lot of the community just are not fans of this. I, of course, shared this tweet and encouraged it, because bring it. And even the legendary B-Square24 was not safe, as they informed us Lorcana Villain broke into my house and replaced all of my bucket hats with top hats. Once the bucket hat brigade recovers from our losses, there will be a response. I'm sorry, B-Square, but you have nothing to threaten me with. The top hat will always reign supreme. Cry harder. Lorcana Villain doesn't say please when he orders food at restaurants. Of course, the clue's it's an order. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where people are getting missing. You're missing. Your Lorcana player is missing. I kidnapped them. Lorcana Villain sold me a timeshare in New Jersey. I don't even get the significance of this, but it sounds diabolical, so I will take credit. Lorcana Villain's favourite comedian is James Corden. I commented this. That was below the belt. I take absolutely no responsibility for this. America, you can keep him. I heard Lorcana Villain pronounces scone the wrong way. Well, you just heard me. Clearly, I don't. Lorcana Villain is bad, and that's good. He will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than he. Thank you, Stephen Jessel. I'm glad that you'll finally you're getting with the program. We've got Jeffrey here, personal friend. Lorcana Villain doesn't think our truth is funny. I mean, I do, but like, don't tell anyone. It's also your birthday. Yeah, it was my birthday, 1st of June. That was why it was kind of funny to read through these. Lorcana Villain had a hidden button that switched to the French commentary team every time Spessy started talking. He's malevolent, and somehow it still made more sense than anything I had to say. Lorcana Villain holds the door open for everyone except adorable little old ladies. Of course, they've got so much more experience doing it than I have. Honestly, some of you, I feel like, just need to grow up a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, that was a bit of fun, wasn't it? Anyway, that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.